Kings, queens, and in-betweens, welcome back to the City Boys podcast. This week, we are going over St. Louis City SC's horrible loss to Little Bro, giving you the City Boys 3 points as always. Kit clash, and we are going to leave you with a good preview of the Columbus Crew, which is not an ideal opponent right now, if I gotta be honest. My name is Ethan Thornton, and I am joined by two of my best friends, Jacob and Grayson. Jacob, how are you doing tonight, boss?
Tonight, last night, throughout the week, upset. It's been a rough soccer week for me. Kevin De Bruyne announced his departure in the summertime from Manchester City. TikTok has been feeding me Kevin De Bruyne edits. And then last night, St. Louis City lost to our little sister, Sporting Kansas City. And then I got fed TikToks all night of Sporting Kansas City. So. I am not happy. Grayson, how are you?
Uh, well, yeah, I'd have to say about the same. Not doing too hot. Was trying not to smile in the intro, but Ethan's energy is just so infectious. It's hard not to. But yeah, I mean, at this point, if I stop shaving my head and just let it grow out until St. Louis City scores a goal, I'm gonna have a full head of hair again, guys. I'm scared. I'm scared.
Oh my God, Grayson. I would kind of love to see the results of that experiment. But honestly, guys, I mean, despite the loss, I have to admit, I am having probably one of the best weeks of my life. The last week, I was not on this podcast. I was out on vacation, had to take care of business. The last time I talked to y'all on this podcast, I was a boyfriend. Well, now I am returning, upgraded to fiance status, ladies and gentlemen. Yes,
Let's
sir. Yes, sir.
go.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. The love of my life has agreed to marry me, and I am frankly just over the moon about it. I am so excited. And now that that vacation is completed, I am back to talk ball with the boys, which is one of my other favorite things to do. It's unfortunate that this is the episode that I'm returning to. It's though, I'm glad I'm not missing out on this episode. I'll say that. I know that
True.
we are fired up as hell right now. Last night we had the pissed meter on display for the fans and followers alike to display their feelings as well. Before we get into the game, Grayson, what was your initial response to last night's game compared to now? Are you feeling a little more rational? Are you feeling still pretty hot? How are you doing, man?
I feel a little bit more rational for sure. I was s s spewing some hot takes in the group chat, but I think every City fan was kind of going through that stage of grief where, we're calling for heads, we're telling the club to sell people, we're telling people to sack people. So, I'm a little calmer now. I'm still just as angry, I'll say.
I am not calm whatsoever. So I actually didn't get to watch the game live. I had to be an adult and go work. And while working, I'm getting updates in the group chat from you guys, and I'm getting more and more disappointed that that's like an hour's gone by and there's not a celebration of a goal being scored. And then I found out the result that we lost, and so I put the game rewatch off until today. So it is very, very fresh for me. And
Mm.
yeah, I am calling for heads. I am pissed off. I want to see heads roll. Just like I said last week, if we lost this game, heads need to roll.
I
Heads
mean,
need to roll.
I can't blame you whatsoever, Jacob. My knee jerk response to this game was just heated. I was actively having to not call out players and be unproductive on social media, which is never the case. I know for a fact that our followers were also very, very unhappy. It was just probably our worst performance of the season so far in the barbecue. Boys, let's not delay any longer. Jacob, why don't you take us through the lineup, please?
Yeah, this one on paper is a 3-4-2-1. At times it looked different, but I'm just gonna go with what it is on paper. In goal still, Ben Lunt. As far as performances on the night, I thought Ben Lunt did okay. Then we've got Joachim Nielsen, who came off injured again. Henry Kessler, Josh Yaro makes up our back line. Our four midfielders are Kyle Hebert, Marcel Hartle, Morales, and Akil Watts. And then Celio Pompeo and Conrad Valla make up our attacking midfield with João Klaus up top. We did have some substitutions on the night. Thomas Ostrak came in for the injured Joachim Nielsen. He slotted into the midfield, and Conrad Vallum came back on defense.
Yep.
Then we had Simon Betcher come in, as well as Cedric Teuscher, leaving a whole multitude of talent on the bench that did not get to play.
Yeah, first right off the bat, like this is the first time we've seen Henry Kessler get a match score of below 7. Like
Mm.
he's just been locked down this season so good. And it just shows that this game was not really great for anybody. You know, some people did have decent games statistically. Um, Maybe one person passed the eye test this week, but we're gonna get into that a little bit. But what did you guys think? Did you guys think that Olaf was gonna change the formation this week, or I mean,
To
what were
be
you expecting?
To be fair, I don't know if I was expecting a different formation, but I was really glad to see that some tweaks were made in the attack. Seeing the Brazilian duo of Celio Pompeu and João Klaus back in the starting 11 was very exciting, at least on paper. I was very glad to see that number 12 was going to be getting a run out, especially against Sporting Kansas City. We know that he and Klaus seem like they have found success in that fixture already as St. Louis City players. I thought they were both positive to start the game, especially Celio Pompeu. I really liked his energy, and I thought that the potential connection between him and Conrad Vallum was very interesting and an attacking connection that I'd like to see a lot more of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, without that injury, Vollum is a lot further up on the pitch and a lot further right on the pitch. Although he does kind of flow around a lot, uh, having him move back to that left wing position is pretty interesting because then you have two, pretty forward-thinking people on the left wing, like pretty much two people that can play left wing, and it did breed some positive I wouldn't say success because nothing really happened, but we created some
Yeah.
chances down the left side at least.
It seemed like our almost the entire attack was going up that left side. If I think about the game, there are next to zero notable moments of up the right hand side for the St. Louis City attack, and I think a heat map would back that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the injury to Joachim, I mean, we've been down this road
Ugh.
before. It really hamstringed us.
Mhm.
It also hamstrings Conrad Vallum because I think he's way more dynamic and dangerous farther up the field as opposed to playing like a left wing back role. Granted,
Mhm.
he is good on defense, but I would like he had arguably our best chance of the match playing farther forward. I didn't hate the Ostrak sub. I think Ostrak is very good. He does
Same.
offer a different skill set in midfield, but I mean, as far as defenders that we could have brought in for a like for like swap, Timo was sitting there, Wenzel sitting there, JGR we haven't seen a minute of since last season,
Yeah.
but instead we go for let's move Kyle Hebert into center back and pull arguably our most dynamic attacker of the match into a defensive position. But
Yeah, I'm not terribly frustrated with the decision because that does push Hartel further up the pitch. Uh, but yeah, it was very interesting because pretty much all the matches we've seen so far, offensively, we've looked better on the right side of the pitch, flowing through Totland, and getting
Yeah.
down there. And we've been complaining that nothing's been happening on the left. So now we have the complete opposite, and we're still imbalanced. So it's, that's like one of the only positives I can get is like we found that other side. We still were super one-sided, but we found that we can use
Yeah.
that one side. So hopefully when, we have some people finally come back from injury, we have Leuven who plays on the right side of the center, or I guess he plays on the left side of the center of the park. But when you have Totland at least back on the right, we're definitely going to be a little bit more dangerous on both sides. So that's something to look forward to. But
That was something that has taken me completely off guard. I think that going into this season, we knew how important that Thomas Totland was for this team. I think that last season, at least two of us called him or nominated him for the player of the season for St. Louis City. And his absence in the defense has been incredibly detrimental to our counterattacking chances, to our defensive shape. I think has really taken a hit as well. It has been rough without Thomas Tolland. I hope that he comes back quickly, as well as Joachim Nielsen. That is hurtful to see him go down like that.
Our right-sided 1v1 defending has taken a hit as well. We look
Mm-hmm.
exposed. We haven't found a solution to right wing back since he's gone down. Akil Watts did not have a great game by any means. I don't think he's the solution at right wing back either. Joey Zielinski hasn't got any clock, so we have no idea if he's the solution.
Yep. Yeah, it felt like a good game to give Joey Zielinski a run out, a rival opportunity, a game with big implications. Let's see what you're made of, and if you can't cut it, then okay. But Akil Watts also, we he didn't cut it.
Yeah.
rough game, rough game. Last thing before we get into the match review, I wanted to note that we did have a new sub on the bench. Emil Jaskalinen has signed from
Hmm.
City 2 on loan. So we do have another option, albeit a very young and inexperienced option, but a very exciting player nonetheless. Picked him up in the super draft, of course, and what he was doing in college is very exciting. So I am honestly looking forward to seeing something new in the offense. So I want
Am
to see
I
him get some minutes. I don't care.
did this is kind of tangential, boys, but did he go to Akron? Did Jaskalin get drafted from Akron?
I forget.
I think Ben Lunt also went to Akron University. I just realized that the two of them probably played at the same college, not at the same time, but I just think that's crazy. Anyways,
Well, Well, what do you say we get into our match review? It's not going to be a fun one. Not sure how long you guys are going to spend on this, but I've only got two major actions in the first 30, two big chances for St. Louis City. So we'll go ahead and get into them. In the 15th minute, Morales fires a pass at Klaus. I mean, he pings this. It's a daisy cutter, and he pings it at Klaus, who takes a fantastic touch, turns and finds Vollum cutting in on a breakaway. He skips past the defender, so he's 1v1 with the keeper. It's kind of a difficult angle, and Pulskamp rushes him. Uh, Vollum slots it past, and it hits the bottom left post and does not bounce into the net, even though, like, this angle is insane. Like, how this ball did not bounce into the back of the net is crazy. Physics are stupid. But yeah, just disappointing there. First good chance of the game and first really good chance for Vollum to get his first MLS goal. Just disappointing. But then just a minute later, 16th minute, Alfredo Morales again creates another moment, another chance, launching the ball over the top. That connection with Vollum. Vollum takes an unfortunate first touch and it kind of bounces off of his chest. He tries to get a shot off, but Pulskamp would smother it right into the feet of Akil Watts, who sends it over the goal. So, two quick chances for St. Louis City. We did start off, positive. I thought that we did look good for this first 30. It was very quiet, but we created something to, make me a little bit excited for the rest of the match. But Jacob, what happens next?
A lot happens in the middle 30. Before I get into it, Akil Watts misses that shot, and he's got two wide open City players in the box to his left. That if he just takes a peek, plays a square ball over to the left. It's in the back of the net. But I digress. We're gonna jump to the 37th minute. We're gonna jump to the 37th minute where Celio receives a cross. He plays in Vollum. Vollum then lays it off to Morales, who has a go, and it goes just high of the crossbar, actually smacking the pole that holds the net up. In the next minute, Kansas City is attacking our right flank with Jake Davis, who plays in a low cross to Joveljic, whose shot is on target, and Ben Lunt makes an incredible reactionary save to parry it away. Jumping to just before halftime in the 44th, Celio and Hartel attack down the left flank. Celio plays Hartel, who takes a touch, turns, and tries a curling shot far post, but it was always going to be wide. On the other side of halftime, in the 50th minute, Jake Davis's corner gets cleared by Vollum only as far as a Kansas City player who Travela like crosses it back in. And Klaus is there for the header that doesn't really clear, and then it falls to Fernandez, who tries for a half volley and ends up shooting it wide of the net.
So
And
crazy that he missed that shot, to be honest.
yeah, puts it 50 feet wide as well,
Just
because
Goodness.
Kansas City is not built like that. Um, Let's see. And then in the 52nd minute, Yarrow gets absolutely outplayed. He gets outbodied and then he gets caught out. He allows a through ball to Jake Davis, who is 1v1 with Ben Lunt. Ben Lunt comes off his line, closing down the angle. And bitch boy Jake Davis tries to chip him, but let's just be totally honest. He does not have that quality in his bag.
shit was ass.
Um, yeah, it goes left of the net, never even on frame, and was more hopeful than actual execution because Jake Davis is ass. And then in the 54th minute, Ostrak plays Hartel through in on net. Hartel literally just has Pulse Camp to beat, and he tries to go for the Meg slash bottom right corner. I know he would love to have this one back because it ends up just looking like a shot right at the keeper. And then lastly, in the 57th minute, Hartel plays in arguably his best corner of the night, to a great run by Conrad Vollum, who unfortunately gets a soft header to it, and Pulskamp is able to clean up the play. And that would be the final bits of action in the middle 30. Ethan, would you mind taking us through the gut-wrenching final 30 of this match?
Yeah, this is not going to be fun. I'm gonna spoil it just a little bit. I'm gonna kick off my portion in the 70th minute when the first goal of the game would be found. Dejan Joveljic would make it 1-0 off a through ball from Manu Garcia. Really frustrating goal to concede here, boys, because Manu Garcia would just peel off the back of Thomas Ostrak, find that pocket of space right in between the center backs and center mids, and pick up the ball, start driving it. Henry Kessler and Kyle Hebert, and just had to easily lay it off to Joveljic. I've seen people calling Ben Lunt into question on this goal. Before I even speak on it, let me say I
No.
am not a goalkeeper, but I don't think that he misplayed this. When you are in the top flight, you have got to be covering the near post. Attackers have that quality, especially Dejan Joveljic. If it's a slice of game, sure. Little Johnny covered the near post too much on that goal, but this is not that. The MLS is full of quality, so I am going to give Ben Lunt a little bit of grace here. The overhead angle doesn't look great, but I don't think he overplayed the near post. Did y'all make anything out of this goal, Grayson, specifically? I know you are a goalkeeper in a past
Yeah.
life.
The positioning was definitely off. And I still don't blame him for that goal though. Like it very easily could have been a save, but that still doesn't save this game. So, any hate towards Ben Lunt from this match, I don't, I don't take it. That's not on him. Maybe don't let a striker one-on-one with our keeper, and he doesn't have to be in any sort of position to save that. It was just a really unfortunate spot. Uh, Manu driving at the defense, Kessler has to make a decision, stop the defender or take the man, and it's too late at that point to step to either. And you get a one-on-one with the keeper, bad positioning. Regardless, it was an easy finish. And a player like Dejan Joveljic is going to take his chances. He's quality.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just disappointing.
J- Jacob, did you see anything from that goal? Any critiques?
I mean, I think it's tough to totally put the blame on the Ben Lunt as well. I mean, you've got the quality of Manu Garcia, who absolutely changed this game when he
Yeah,
came on.
crazy sub.
You have to worry about him, who's on the ball and can definitely score from that angle. And then immediately after that, you have to worry about Dejan Joveljic. So yeah, I put this one on our defense. I also put this one on our midfielders. Somebody needs to put in a 2 foot
That's
tackle at this
yeah,
point in the
man.
game.
That's I'll save my comments for our center midfielders until my recap is complete. But Jacob, I love that you pointed that out. Completely agree with that. I'll move into the 87th minute when substitute Eric Tommy would be driving up the right hand side of the field. He would get toward the end line and play across toward the top of the box that would find Manu Garcia, who puts in a cracking effort. But Ben Lunt makes a great save to push it onto the crossbar. The ball redirects back into play and almost magnetically finds Dejan Joveljic. It seems like at that point in the game, he had completely taken over and asserted his play into the game. And it's unlucky from a St. Louis City perspective, but better defending is really needed on the initial cross and service to prevent Joveljic from finding the back of the net for the second time and putting the dagger into St. Louis City there in the 87th minute. But Jacob, like you alluded to, both goals are going to look really poor on our center midfielders who are just barely in view for the second goal, but I don't think either one of them is in the screen when Kansas City scores their first goal. Both Alfredo Morales and Thomas Ostrak need to get on the same page. I understand that maybe they are not the regular center midfield duo for St. Louis City. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. They have got to be on the same page and communicating with one another to let them know when a man has run off their back. Anyways, to conclude the game, Big Ben would stand on his head to keep the deficit to only two. He made some crazy final saves in this game to keep Joveljic from getting a hat trick. Simon Betcher would get a late shot on target that didn't really challenge Scamp, who himself had a good game. Once again, tired of seeing goalkeepers have masterclasses against us. It gets so old. For me, though, the biggest fireworks were directly after the final whistle. Apparently, the story goes that Jake Davis from Sporting Kansas City went over to the St. Louis City fans and, did the strush and the behind the ear thing. I love that Cedric Toyshirt ran over there and prevented him from continuing to taunt our fans. What's really unfortunate to me is that it feels like it is after the final whistle that we're seeing the passion and fight from the players that we expect to see from them during the 90 minutes of play. I think that was the most frustrating part of that whole sequence for me. What did you guys see from right after the final whistle? Jacob, did you notice that as well in your watch?
Yeah, I do appreciate that Cedric Toyshirt went up and had words and, was definitely saying fighting words. However, my reverse take on it is if you beat his ass in the 90 minutes that we're on the field, he can't come up to your fans and taunt and talk
Yeah.
shit. You get to go and talk shit. And you know what? I would taunt our rivals fans too. So I can't really hate on Jake Davis too much for it because I would expect our dudes to come up and taunt Sporting Kansas City fans after we beat their ass at home, but we didn't. We waited until after
Mm.
the 90 minutes to have some fire, some grit, some passion, some good representation of the city. But you didn't do it when it fucking mattered.
Well said.
Painful.
Yeah, well said, dude. After the game was on, I was waiting to release my frustrations on the STL Sports Hub channel, and I commented that I feel like I was calling the players' efforts into question, and really, that's not the case. I think that this is a much better example of what I was hoping to see during the game. Just that passion and fight during the game of like, we are not here to let our fans down. We're not going to let you guys fuck with our fans. We're not taking any bullshit from our little brothers over across the state. Like, we cannot accept this, and it is disappointing that it took until after the final whistle to see that. I'm glad that I'm not the only person that saw it that way, though.
Mm. Speaking of Kansas City talking shit, I will, give their social media admin some flowers for the uh, Nebraska Furniture Mart posting after the game, handing out L-shaped furniture. That's pretty class. That's pretty funny. So good work there, but that's the only congratulations I'll give you. Congrats
That
on
is
your
great banter.
first 3 points and only 3 points of the season.
Yeah, did you guys see the confetti cannon go off after they won their first game of the season? I was like, oh, that's kind of adorable. Oh,
Bro,
big
congrats.
celebration. You got your guys'
Congrats.
first win this season. That's cute.
Eh,
Embarrassing.
Yeah, more embarrassing for St. Louis City than anything.
yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I am glad to be done talking about that game. It was not a very fun watch. Who wants to get us started with our 3 points tonight?
Mine's quick and not easy, so I'll just rip it for us.
Let it rip, good sir.
Don't really have a title to my point. I'm just gonna say what I wrote down in frustration and let it eat. Hot take, cold take, whatever. We're just gonna let it ride. Basically, what I've got are the solutions to all of our problems have to be in the team and are in the team. To every issue we've got, we have the roster cannot change that much until later on this summer, and even then, it's going to be too late. And we have to find the solutions quickly before the season gets away from us because the teams up top are not slowing down, and that's only going to make the point required qualifying amount that much farther away if we don't figure it out. So we have got to get going. The fans are loud every single game. The front office spent the money to bring in the quality in key areas. Olaf and the players have got to figure it out. It's not panic mode yet, but losing 2-0 to a bottom feeder club in a derby in a stadium that isn't even anywhere close to being full is embarrassing. I saw two players with grit in this game, and that was Valum and Kessler. Specifically in the game, Cedric Toyshirt's grit took place after the game.
Mm.
And to everybody else, you played fucking soft, and it was unacceptable, especially when you represent St. Louis. And I'm going to be in attendance next weekend for my very first game ever at City Park. And if you bring this bullshit next week, that might be my last game ever at City Park.
Get paid. Yeah, I mean, what you're saying about like the uh solutions have to be in the squad. Like we do have some positives coming up, of course. I mentioned earlier we do have some people on track to return from injury pretty soon, like this month. So mid-April, we should be getting Jay Reed back from his foot injury. We should be getting Alm back at some point this month. Of course, we should be getting Berkey maybe at the end of this month at the earliest. And then Thomas Totland also scheduled to be in near the end of April. So, you know, we've got a pretty difficult April, but the reinforcements are on the way. We just no more injuries, guys. We got to stay healthy.
Well, man, I gotta say that one of the things that we really touted about this St. Louis City team going into this season was our depth. We believed that we were deeper than last season and that this was to our benefit and was going to carry us through the finish line this season. We know the injuries are a part of the season. We can anticipate that at least one or two important players are going to be out for some amount of time in a soccer season. I believe that is almost a universal problem for soccer teams across the world. This is not exclusive to the MLS. And so while I understand that having two pretty impactful players, maybe not on the score sheet, but on the field, like Thomas Totland and Chris Durkin, right? Because those are two players that are missing against Sporting Kansas City. That can absolutely be impactful. But seeing the poor body language against Sporting Kansas City, against our rivals, is almost it makes it is completely justified in our frustration, Jacob, because that cannot that we should never be calling that into question. We should never wonder if they left any more out on the field.
I'll go ahead and slide into my point. Ethan, before the match, you had mentioned that you predicted that Kansas City would come out hot and then fizzle on later in the match. And sadly, I don't think that was Kansas City. I think that was us.
Yeah.
And I'm worried that that could also be a prediction for the season. Um, my point is more of an open-ended discussion here because part of me wants to hope that this match right here is rock bottom for this season. But as you all know, that was match day 6 or match day 7, I guess. Yeah, match day 7. Match day 7 out of 34. We have a lot more to go, and we
Mhm.
just lost to the worst team in the league. So I joked, I guess I'd say I joked. I joked about Olaf being sacked for this, and I just want to know, like, at what point is rock bottom for you guys? At what point do we start calling into question the people that we can get rid of? Because we can't be like sacking players and stuff like mid-season, of course. But at what point do we need to start calling into question the people who are in charge? Like, of course, it's ridiculous to only give Olaf Melberg 7 games in the MLS, but another thing that I noticed that Ethan and I were talking about in the group chat last night is, we kind of play a lot like Manchester United in the Premier
Ugh.
League right now, and that's what I'm scared of is just like if we let our Ruben Amorim, our Olaf Melberg, play the same formation unchanged all season, we're going to end up in 13th place, right where Manchester United are, unchanged. That's just I feel like that's just what's going to happen is if we just it's already stale. If we just let it keep getting stale, this ain't it. And let me remind you, we've got the Crew next week. We've got Vancouver after that. We've got LAFC after that. We've got Seattle after that. San Diego after that, and then we're back in Kansas City. So, like, at what point is rock bottom? How many more losses does it take before this is a red flag? What do you guys think? If you had to put a number on it, how many more L's?
I don't know if I can put a number on it, Grayson, but I will present to you a counter situation that does sound like rock bottom to me because there is another team in the West that just fired their manager after like 17 or 15 years at the helm. He was like the third most winning coach ever in the MLS. He is like pretty much an institution at Sporting Kansas City, and they just fired his ass. So I'm talking about Peter Vermees very yeah, very not subtly, but
The only head coach that's been fired this year.
uh, did Montreal fire their head coach already?
Yes, yes, they fired their head
Okay,
coach last
I
week.
don't get.
my
Anyway,
fault.
I'm
Yeah, you're
slandering
good, you're good,
Sporting
you're good.
Kansas City, so Montreal is out of this question for me. But look, Grayson, while we are definitely in a bad run of form, don't get me wrong. No goals in 3 games, being shut out 3 games in a row is completely unacceptable, especially with the quality that we have. However, I don't think we've hit rock bottom yet. We are we've won a game this season, all right, which is already a start. We didn't have a 13 game unbeaten or losing streak going into this game, so I don't think we're at rock bottom yet. It feels bad. Don't get me wrong, it feels horrible, but I don't think we're there yet. I don't know what that looks like though. I don't want to think about what rock bottom looks like for us.
I would say I don't have a number on it either. I have like if we keep stringing together poor performances like this, like say we lose the rest of April and it just doesn't look good and it's the same issues every single game, then yeah, his seat would be very, very hot, if not vacant for me. Um, but yeah, I would love for this to be our rock bottom because it isn't an actual rock bottom. But I don't, like I said, we have the solutions. We just haven't found them yet. And as much as I can sit up here and come up with solutions, it comes from the players wanting it. And they just have not performed up to par for 66% of the season, maybe 67% of the season now with mathematics.
And that's the thing, is like I want to see any sort of tactical shift so then we can know if it's the players or if it's the manager.
It is hard to argue that adjustments need to be made, right? Because clearly what's going on is not working. I took a break last week, so I don't sound like too much of a broken record. All right. But what do I always say? If it's fucking broke, fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And clearly our attack is broken.
Broke,
Bro, it
It is
broke.
broken
broke,
as
Broke.
hell.
so broke.
It is lifeless. They need new batteries. They need new something. Look,
Four
I
dollars in
think
the bank account broke.
I think this is a good segue into my point because this week I want to address the people that are calling Lutz Fan and Steel into question. And the main reason that I want to call them out is because I just have one simple question for them, and that is which one of Lutz's performances on the field was bad? Which one? Which one? Because Lutz Fan and Steel is not on the field playing games for St. Louis City. Players win and lose the games, and in my opinion, Lutz has done a good job bringing the players in necessary to succeed. I demand success from the players that we have, and I believe this season our problem is that we can't score goals. We have not scored goals. We are doing fine on defense. We can't score goals. But you mean to tell me that Lutz Fan and Steel is the reason that we can't score goals? Really? You don't think it's I love the guy. You don't think it's Jao Klaus? All right. Marcel Hartel, such a toy shirt. Celio Pompeu, unfortunately. All right, guys. These Simon Betcher, our attack is not performing up to standards, ladies and gentlemen. Stop trying to grasp at straws. It is St. Louis fans can just be so irrational sometimes, and I just want to put my hand on their shoulder and say, "It's okay, calm down. I understand that you expect insane greatness. All right, we're in year three. The 5 year plan is just over halfway through. We are 50-50 on the playoffs. Year one made the playoffs. Year two, no. Year three, then I think we can start calling Lutz into question. But to the people calling him into question, just stop. Stop, please. Stop. For me, this has been all about the players. I think that we need to keep the players accountable and demand more from them. Simon Betcher posted on his Instagram story that the fans deserve more. I completely agree. I want to see more fight, more grit, and more passion from the players on the field. So my point this week is stop blaming Lutz. All right. He's not putting on shin guards. It's not his fault.
Yeah, my only, I guess, argument would be that, in the off season, we this specific off season we didn't do too much, and that's because we did a lot of our work in the, winter
Summer window.
transfer, winter
Summer
transfer,
window.
the
It was
winter one.
summer.
No, it
We
was the
just
summer
got
we brought in Toy Shirt and Hartle.
this one was the winter one with Timo and
Oh, well,
Conrad.
whatever. Either way, we didn't sign anybody over the summer or whatever. I don't care. Um,
Whatever season.
whatever. But we were linked to another attacking player, Aaron Opoku, that we were, excited about. But, we ended up not being able to sign him, and we just kind of assumed that STL's offense would be fine without him. But, maybe the argument for Lutz is he's bringing in the wrong players, or you know,
I mean,
because
Grayson, I hear that argument. I hear that, but I mean, like, we have seen the product on the field work, especially like the back half of last season. St. Louis City was flying. This season, our attack is off to a slow start, but like the players are good. I think the players are good enough. At least I believe that this podcast thinks the players are good enough. I think that we all believe in Marcel Hartel and Cedric Toyshirt at least, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the main thing we're missing in attack is just a pace merchant. Pace is kind of king in the MLS right now. Like Emmanuel Loth, that boy's fast. He has 5 goals this season.
Yep. Yep.
Brand new to the league.
Yeah, I would personally not mind if in an upcoming window we went out and got just a pure goal scorer. He does nothing on the field other than score goals because we've kind of got the opposite at striker right now. João Klaus is doing everything on the field except
But
scoring goals.
scoring.
Like he was defending corners pretty adeptly. He was tracking back very well, I think inspiring the team, but
I saw someone say play him at center defensive mid.
I don't want to see it, but it would be halfway interesting. But that is my point for this week, gentlemen, is that I'm not it's frustrating. Our performances are bad these past few games. I don't blame Lutz Van and Steele. I think that we need to be looking at the players and demanding their complete best every week.
Fair. Well, before we move on from Sporting Kansas City, let's go ahead and ring the bell because it is Kick Clash time. One of apparently the only things we know we can beat Kansas City in,
Yeah, this is
because
gonna be quick.
our kits are fire, and I think that St. Louis City fans have come around to our home kits. I haven't seen, a great outpouring of love for them, but I think quietly City fans are digging them because they
I
look
sh-
so good on the field. I mean, come on.
I definitely stopped seeing any kind of hate for these kits, and I think that the main criticism of you won't be able to see the stripes on the field has been proven incorrect. Right? We can all see the stripes on watching the game, right? Maybe not in person, but like on TV, I think they show up just fine.
Personally, I'm out on the collar now.
Okay, okay, you've changed your mind since the
Yeah.
season has started, huh?
Yeah, it looks uncomfortable to wear on the field.
I kind of thought Celio was looking cool when the game started and it was
Celio
like hat
always
popped.
looks
I was
cool.
like, all right,
Celio
I was
always
like,
looks cool.
all right, popping my collar, a little 3-6 Mafia. But as far as kids go, oh, Grayson, I'll let you go first. This is
Yeah, I'm gonna name this the barcode or the comb. I don't know what kind of kit. It kind of looks like a piano, maybe, or like I don't know, just some weird industrial design that they're probably going for because Kansas City makes stuff.
what do they make?
I don't know. They don't do anything.
Bad barbecue.
They complain about not being as big as St. Louis, and then they make fun of us for our ambition. Just, sorry we're trying to be a good city, just get over it. But for this kit, this hoop little barcode kit, it's fine. I'm gonna give it a 3. That sounds a
I
lot less
have
than fine, but a 3.
I have 4 words. Okay, one of them's an acronym, but anyways, it is fuck KC -10.
I like all those words, and I completely agree with the sentiment. I can't stop thinking of 2 words. Must see TV. Chris Paul from Charles Barkley. um, well, look, man, the one KC kit. I'm trying to for a second be objective because it's got the club's hoops. Eh,
Oops. Ain't nobody want to
This
oops.
No, I don't. Yeah, no one cares. Nobody cares. I don't like this jersey. I don't like your club. It's a 0 for the jersey. It sucks. It's one of the worst. I would not be caught dead wearing this. You couldn't. You couldn't pay me money to wear a Sporting Kansas City jersey.
See, so that's an average of 3 plus 0
We're
Plus
at
negative
we're
10.
at
7
negative
divided by
7.
3. It is an average of a -1.3.
Jeez. Yeah,
Knock it out.
this kid ain't it. And we are biased.
I rate this
Uh,
kit as highly as Jake Davis's haircut.
yeah.
Nick Davis's finishing ability. Trash. All right, fuck Kansas City. Let's get into
Yeah,
the preview.
let's talk
Moving
about a
on.
different team, please.
Um,
Yeah. Jacob.
so on Sunday we play the undefeated first place in the East, Columbus Crew. They have 4 wins, 3 draws, and 0 losses, making them undefeated. What do you know? They've got 15 points on the season, and they have quality all up in this team. They've got Diego Rossi, MLS vet and journeyman Darlington Nagby, rookie and kind of flying Jason Russell Rowe, U.S. men's national team goalkeeper and St. Louis native Patrick Schulte. They also have Mo Farsi as well as Daywan Jones, my fault, on defense. And then not quality, but needs to be mentioned, my least favorite ex-City player in Azeel Jackson.
He did
Uh,
just score a goal at the weekend,
I don't
Jacob.
give a fuck.
Yeah, congratulations, AZ. Your favorite, your biggest fan, Jacob, misses you greatly.
I don't give a fuck if he scored or not. Yeah. Summing it up, this has to be a win. I don't think it's gonna be a win though. I do not see us winning this game. My prediction is a 2-0 loss because until we can score a goal, there is no point in predicting a goal scorer.
Sheesh, Jacob. That is harsh but fair because, yeah, if we haven't scored a goal in 3 games, why even waste the damn breath? It's unfortunate that after a 2-0 loss to the worst team in the league, we don't get like a momentum game or
This
anything
was
like that.
supposed to be our momentum game. This was our get
Facts
back on
and
track
facts.
game.
Big facts. We just we fluffed our get back game, and now
Oops.
going into one of not not just this season are they one of the better teams historically, one of the better sides. A side that I think, frankly, St. Louis City has been like fortunate not to come up against in their very strong times. So, yeah, Jacob, just like you, I wish we weren't going to this game as your first one in City Park. Not
When
to
we thought
mention,
about it a couple weeks ago, I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be a great game. This is gonna be highly touted."
like a heat check, right?
Heat
No, no,
check,
no,
heat
no, no,
check.
no.
Nah.
We are in fraud watch potential, boys. The Columbus Crew are really good. St. Louis City's not playing great right now. This is going to be quite an interesting Sunday night soccer watch. I'm going to predict a 3-1 loss. I do think we'll find the back of the net, but Columbus will just keep flying. I'm going to go for either Simon. Yeah, Simon, please find the back of the net for us, boss. Please.
Yeah, this is not looking too hot. I mean, Columbus has a great offense, and they're tied for fourth best defense in the league with a ton of other teams. So can't really say much about that. But of course, Patrick Schulte. Ethan pointed it out. Goalkeepers love a man of the match against us. Patrick Schulte, remember your hometown, man.
Yeah, Agent Schulte, please.
Just have a bad day and we'll sign you. No problem. We'll sign you. Once Roman Berkey decides you can play, we'll sign you. And we'll take you. But until then, let Klaus have a couple, man. I don't know. I'm not very excited for this match, although we are going to be there and it's going to be a great time. I'm going to have some brews. Um, and if it gets bad, we'll have a few more. It'll be a great time.
We're gonna be loud and proud in the supporter
Oh
section.
yeah. Oh yeah. So regardless, I think it's gonna be a fun match, but for me, I can't in my right mind predict a dub. Um, I'm predicting a 3-1 loss, and the only reason I'm giving us a goal is because I want to predict a goal scorer, and it's gonna be Celio. Because, you know, we did kind of hate on a lot of our players this week, but he did still look good. I think he's slowly and steadily building his momentum
Mhm.
and finding that form again that we saw from last season. He's taking players on 1v1, just about the only player we've seen do that this season. and actually winning his 1v1s too. So, you know, I'm just very extremely excited to have this guy back. So I'm gonna back him to get a goal. Celio gets the one, 3-1. Disappointing.
Boys, let's for 1 second before we finish this episode, because right now I'm hearing three pretty pessimistic and cynical St. Louis City fans, and rightfully so. We don't have a lot to be optimistic about. It's not like we have a bright spot on the team. No one's scoring goals or anything like that. Like Henry Kessler has been pretty good this
Yeah.
season, like defender of the year level so far, but let's, for 1 second, put on our optimist caps and pretend that St. Louis City can pull off a victory against the Columbus Crew. I think that would be not season defining, all right, because it's only going to be the eighth game of the season, but a win here against the Columbus Crew could be the get back game, like the get back game of games, because they are top of the East, like you said. Handing them their first defeat this season could be the kind of motivational material that a side like St. Louis City needs.
Yeah, we're talking a lot of shit this game, or yeah, after this match, but it's still super early on in the season. 3 points, they count the same in the beginning and in the end, but right now, nobody has a lot of points. So 3 points can make drastic changes on the table for us, at least. But I will say, as the season goes on, it gets harder and harder to pass teams up. But right now, if we get an upset dub against the Crew, like it could be a great way to bounce back. And yeah, I mean, it's not a 0% chance that happens. We've seen St. Louis upset some really good teams. That was almost a characteristic of St. Louis City in season one is that we came out and we surprised the big teams like LA Galaxy, like Cincinnati in season one. Like these were heavy hitting teams, and we came out and smashed them 5-1 against Cincy specifically. So, if Columbus Crew decides to, play a lot more offensive, get lackadaisical, don't respect St. Louis City, then, it's possible that Olaf's counterattacking finally pays off and we sneak a couple goals in here. It could happen.
I
Did
won't be
we
holding my breath for it though.
Yeah.
did we it's one the final note. Did we talk about the table at all and how it shaked out after all of this weekend's matches? It's not super pretty if you're a St. Louis fan. We are currently sitting in 11th. Our goal difference is zero. We've conceded four and scored four. We're sitting in between RSL and Seattle. I don't know, boys. It's not looking great. We're on 2-2-3 right now.
Yeah.
We are going to need a result against well, frankly, in the month of April.
Yeah, this next stretch of games is really going to be season defining. And yeah, I'm a little worried. I can't lie.
Columbus, Vancouver, LAFC, Seattle, San Diego, Sporting Kansas City.
If we
It's a
can
hell
make
of a
it,
run.
if we can make it to that Sporting Kansas City game with 6 points, I will be extremely impressed.
Damn.
Extremely impressed.
Yeah, Jacob, go ahead, share some of that birthday luck, birthday magic, whatever you got with the boys in red. They need it now that you're back, man.
Yeah, it's only birthday 26 though. It's not like there's not a
Ah.
ton of love and magic to the number. So I'll give them what I can, but it might only keep the deficit to one goal. We'll see.
And that's something. That is something, if you ask me.
Fuck.
All
Pain.
right, lads. We ready to wrap this one up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, let's go ahead and get out of here.
If you've been watching on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. If you have been listening on Spotify, make sure you follow and rate 5 stars. And most importantly, don't forget to tell your mother that you love her. STO.
STO.
STL.
STL.
ST.